additional space added on, you could use it to have a vast collection of gaming that customers would want to buy, and you could compete with local and bigger retailers such as Walmart and GameStop with a vast collection of new and vintage video games. And it would also be a source of a new revenue stream for Kings Landing.
Once that's in place, we'd like to see a comprehensive inventory system put into place to track all in-store inventory for both of the stores with Kings Landing and Bankstons. We'd also, once that's set up, be able to provide in-store kiosks to allow a customer at one store to be able to browse inventory that's in that store as well as the one next door without having to go to both. It'd also allow them to see different things that are recommended for them if you did customized logins, and it would really help inventory turnover as well as knowing what assets are actually in store. And then that could be expanded into going to the warehouse to where all inventory items are cataloged, again, so that assets can be tracked better, but then that's going to really help inventory turnover because right now inventory in there can't really be turned over at all. It'll be able to have customers place ship-to-store orders and just help grow the business.
So our final idea is for Bankstons to launch an e-commerce site that's independent of what their already existing website as a way to supplement their brick and mortar store and to so that they can manage their inventory and their sales. In addition, this would also help offer customers the shop online and pick up in store. It would enable Bankstons to cross-promote between their online store and their brick and mortar store. And it would also give e-shoppers that aren't locals the Bankstons experience. Right now, e-commerce is growing at an annualized rate of 4.4%, and sporting goods, hobby items, and games are valued at about $21.2 billion. Bankstons already has the inventory, they already have the customer base, and the way to reach out to those customers. So by integrating their inventory system as well as a bookkeeping system, they'll be able to track all their transactions and manage their assets. This will also help them so that their customers can shop online and see what items are in the store and what can be shipped from their inventory. This will also help Bankstons so that they can track all the customers' buying behavior so that they can more efficiently manage their inventory and purchase exactly what they need for their growing customer demand.
In conclusion, we think that integrating all three of these ideas will have a combined effort, and it'll make a huge growth. In the video game retail, we think will be huge with the current expertise your staff already has. It'll be something different than what GameStop or Walmart can offer. It'll also be an advertising tool. You can reach out to especially college and high school customers with the big release dates. It gets those huge lines at midnight, which advertises both for that video game store and as well as Bankstons because they're going to be looking for anything around there. Once you add the inventory system, again, it just will really increase inventory turnover, and especially once a fully functional e-commerce store that can browse any inventory will allow the customer base to grow exponentially. We thank you for your time, and we'll see you later.
Brent, I want to give you a chance if you have any questions or feedback to the teams, either way.
Good morning. We are Team Vicky, and we are excited about presenting our proposal this morning. We really enjoyed looking at Bankstons as a business this semester, and think that you guys have an excellent business model. So kind of the focus of our proposal is to fine-tune the things that you guys do really well, and so kind of exploiting your capabilities and your competencies. And so our plan has low risk, but it also has really easy implementation with a high revenue coming in. And so there's kind of two pieces to the plan. The first part is long-term, and so how can you guys create revenue that will be sustaining for the next 20 plus years, as well as short-term revenue. So things that you guys can start, ways that you guys can start implementing them today.
Awesome. So like Kelsey said, our long-term vision is just to simply increase cash. And so we have two ways that we're going to do that. The first one is expansion. I know this isn't a new idea to take Bankstons and replicate it into more cities. And so we know that Bankstons is a very successful company, and so we really do want that to be a possibility. And so some ways that we could start implementing that right now is just creating an even stronger company identity and just creating consistency within the company now, so later on it's easier to replicate. And another thing we were thinking of is implementing an employee training program so that you're speaking value into the employees, and whether that's taking all the staff from Waco and Austin right now to a ski trip for a week, and then later on making that a yearly thing with new locations put in, and also building an employee handbook right now. So just creating an even more solidified way to speak value into what your employees really need to be able to make Bankston succeed. The second one is doing e-commerce. Once again, this isn't a new idea, but we did research statistics, and 70% of Americans shop online. I'm sure almost everyone in this classroom has ordered something online at some point. And also we saw a company that revamped their website completely, and it increased their online sales by 50% by just making it more easily accessible and changing the format. And so we think that if Bankstons were really able to revamp the website, that we could increase cash in that way long term.
So our second part of our plan is more short term right now to increase cash. So we think that you should implement a rewards program. So we know a lot of your big spenders are about 20 of your customers, and we think that if you implement some sort of program where if they spend a lot of money, you give them a certain percentage back, so they have incentive to come back and spend more and more. And we researched their Starbucks rewards program, and that increased their revenue by 23%. And also we were thinking about gift cards. It'd be perfect time right now because it's holiday season. So we also saw that 2 to 20% of gift cards go unredeemed each year, so that's just free cash for you. And then 65% of gift card owners spend an extra 38% when they're in the store. So they have gift card and then they spend more with all the options y'all have to offer.
So to recap, long term, it's pretty simple. Be able to expand to big cities. We know that might be a little bit more difficult, but we thought it would be a really good idea. And also e-commerce, like they said, be able to increase sales by just redoing your website could be huge for your company. And then short term, rewards program and gift cards. And we just wanted to thank you for being here, and we had a lot of fun working with you.
I don't know if you guys looked at the gift cards thing. I kind of wonder if his current credit card processor might not have a program like that. It's just almost like something you have to activate. You use Clover to process credit cards, right? I wonder if they have a gift card program that you could just adopt. Wonderful. Okay. So an easy path to that idea.
Yeah, but so my screen right now is like his screen is explaining the tools.
Equivocate.
Yeah, I said like 5%.
Can't get your head around it.
Like I'll take slide 5
Distracted.
through whatever. We just didn't include that.
If you need to go, by all means. Yeah. You don't want to spread it around anymore.
Yeah, I would have tried to hand it over.
Get well. Rest well.
Yeah, I was counting them.
You guys are.
Like breaking up.
Thank you. Just making sure.
Please communicate.
Is it working?
I do not want to be here.
And that was now website.
I think Chrome is misbehaving, maybe because of something somebody has opened. So you might try Firefox if this doesn't work.
There's a lot of good tools. Did you send yourself the link? Like he said. No, he said that
Are you in Chrome or Firefox?
I know, I don't think he's saying that.
He was saying last
He said
That's what I did. See, that's what I said. Still trying to log out. Put in a couple codes. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, that's the problem we're having.
If you want, we can. I'll just share it. Beatbox is that way you do everything. Go and get it, go and get it.
Use Firefox. Go-
We're available for hire after December 14th.
Even that one's logged into somebody, isn't it? They won't let you log in, right?
I mean, I have my.
You got HDMI? You got HDMI out? Yeah.
None of us know HDMI. As far as like how it should be run, what it should be like.
I don't think it was the right word. I've never thought about it right now. I see what you're saying. It's a medicine.
You know, what do you want to have happening?
Shut down.
Shut down.
I would just.
This happens in other classes, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should be a little more skilled at this moment. Don't you think? If we do this in every class? And then hit the over there, see at the top there? There you go. Switch, there you go. Okay, go.
Alright, you guys, how's it going? We're Hacksaw. This is Nick, Tyler. My name is Eric, and we're for King's Lounge or King's Go to Chill. And do we have a little clicker or something? Alright, hit it up. Alright, so basically what we have in mind, our strategy is a radical redesign and relocation plan for the already existing King's Landing structure. And the reason why we came up with this is at the beginning of the year when Mr. Norris asked us all who knew Bankstons, no one raised their hand, either because we didn't know or because we just hate participating in class. But, but regardless, the fact is that we have over 16K students and not one out of all of this people know. It's a little bit of an issue. Another issue that we wanted to correlate with this is that the Waco area in general lacks any significant and entertainment variety, especially near campus. There's only a few places that you can go, have fun, and do anything that in proximity to campus. And so the solution we wanted to do is to implement King's Lounge. So King's Lounge is going to provide students and local residents alike a place to have fun, meet people, build a community revolving around gaming, all the way from the classic arcades all the way to current console titles and things that are coming out right now. So our vision and mission is to provide the best social entertainment experience, and our mission is to deliver it by delivering an inviting and exciting experience for the Waco community. Okay, so basically what King's Lounge wants to offer, it's a new take on the traditional bar scene by incorporating arcade and console gaming alongside a full stage service, bar and stage. So basically we're going to have your traditional console games, Xbox, PlayStation, along with your classic arcade games, Pac-Man, pinball, that kind of stuff. And we're going to incorporate it into like more of a nightlife theme, where we're going to have like a bar, and then on certain nights you can have a live DJ come, and so you're going to have like your room for your gaming, you're going to have your console games, your billiards, your arcade games, and you're going to have the bar area with a full-service restaurant, which King's Landing, as I'm understood, already has. And then, so you're basically just implementing some new aspects into what King's Landing has, but mainly our focus is on relocating it closer to campus, so we have more customer or students that are going to be able to access it by foot, because some students don't have cars. So basically, what we were trying to mock was how Scruffs, they have so many people just are able to just walk there. And it's easy, we feel like it'd be easier to reach our target market because we're targeting the college students and young professionals. And yeah, King's Landing is only like a 5-minute drive away, but some people, even though it's only 5 minutes away, they just don't really know where it is until we were able to, Mr. Norris was able to tell us where it was. So,
basically what our revenue structure would be, and kind of like the times of revenue, we'd open at 11:30. It'd be 11 to 10 for all ages, and then 10 to 2 would be 18 and over. With and our typical cover charge would be just a $15 cover charge at the door, and then games would be you could play unlimited games. I'd have to pay the $15 charge, and then obviously the bar and restaurant you'd have to pay.
Some of the costs associated with this are going to be obviously some high startup costs. You have to buy some new arcade machines, and then there's going to be the highest ones are going to be rent and land. And then you're going to have to do maintenance monthly on the machines, possibly even weekly. Then there are going to be entertainment costs for your DJs, other stuff that you might want to bring in. And then there's going to be food and beverage supplier costs. But the main competitors are your typical bars like Scruffs, Crickets, and Muddle. Your other gaming place, which is Land Sharks, Pool Hall like Past Eddie's, even Common Grounds, which brings in live entertainment all the time, even though it's more coffee based. And confident we can gain some of the market, or a lot of the market share away from these other places. And it's going to be a place where we can bring together the community and add a new dynamic to entertainment in the city of Waco. So come experience King's Lounge.
Nice. Thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Welcome to Bankstons. We are going to talk about our strategy for Bankstons. I'm Rachel Finn. This is Kevin and Taylor.
So the ultimate goal of this proposal and our strategy is to franchise King's Landing. We know that's something that you're not really thinking about right now, but the beauty of this plan is that you're taking baby steps to get there until you're comfortable with the idea of franchising. And we are achieving that through organizing internal operations through technology development and expanding brand recognition.
So the first thing we believe that would benefit King's Landing in this plan is to organize a technology infrastructure, starting with the inventory management. We know that at the current state there's a lot of inventory and to build a warehouse, and it would be more beneficial to understand what you have at what time, and this system will help you give you real-time information to make decisions. And after you count all of your inventory, you can establish your point of sale, and then after that you can establish your CRM system, which will help you store information about your customers and really get to know them so that you can really drive your customer service aspect, because we know that's your competitive advantage and you want to protect that. Also, the main benefit of this technology infrastructure is that you can devote less time to your fundamental operations of your company and devote more time to that aspect. And we think it would make it a lot easier to train your employees and preach your the aspect that you are concerned with most in your company. And here I just list some huge benefits to this technology infrastructure, and they're pretty obvious. And as you can see, just from like the point of sale, it simplifies accounting. And as an accounting major, I know that takes up a lot of time. And if you have technology to help you store that data, you can get really good information to make awesome business decisions. And that's just one of the 9 benefits from this infrastructure. And after you develop that, you can go on to our next proposal.
And our next proposal is implementing mobile units. So for example, starting at the downtown Waco Farmers Market on Saturdays from 9 to 1, you can set up a table displaying inexpensive but popular merchandise for sale. And the big thing that would draw people to this table would be selling the biscuits and the biscuit bowls that your wife makes at King's Landing. And that would draw in this farmers market crowd and increase kind of the brand recognition of King's Landing and Bankstons, and that would get a larger customer base that you're seeking for King's Landing. That would bring in a different crowd than the people who are coming to King's Landing and Bankstons now. And so you could start with tents and tables at the farmers market, and then eventually move to things like food trucks or a container like the one that Common Grounds has. And you could take these to different comic conventions around Texas and America, increasing the Bankstons name.
So the last part of this is the expansion, which is the franchising piece. And franchising is the most effective and efficient way to grow a small business fast. The textbook actually defines franchising as a strategy in which a firm uses a franchise as a contractual relationship to describe and control the sharing of its resources with its partners. And it also mentions that the franchising is a particularly attractive strategy for fragmented industries such as the industries that Bankstons is a part of. But the effectiveness of this strategy is a product of how well the franchisor can replicate their success across multiple venues. And so Forbes gives 8 steps to help small businesses kind of start the franchising process. And we felt that 3 of those were most pertinent to Bankstons and with this strategy. And one of those was to get organized, to build and protect your brand, and to know how you want to grow, which are all facilitated by the information systems and the mobile units. So franchising, in conclusion, would be an efficient and effective way to grow your small business steadily and consistently, and also the best way to spread brand recognition and grow your customer base, which we knew were all goals of Bankstons and Kings Landing.
And to conclude, on the back of your handout that we put a timeline on there, it'll just sort of help you understand the time frame of our proposal. Thank you.
Nice, guys. Thanks. Anytime. You have the floor whenever you want it.
I'm gonna take a punt on this great idea, just keep shooting,
All right.
keep blasting away. Got much more important things to say than that.
What's going on over there? What? I mean, you're right.
Go. Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. This is our Bankstons strategic plan. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Sterling. And I'm Richard.
So to begin, we just want to give you an introduction of our 4-phase process. So the first phase is going to be to develop a food truck and reality TV series. The second phase is a theater. The third phase is maturation. And then our 4th phase is domination over Texas.
No ego there.
So for part 1 of our first phase is the Butter My Biscuit mobile. So basically this is going to be a mobile version of Butter My Biscuit. This food truck could travel to different events around Waco, on Baylor's campus, on university parks near the other food trucks, coffee shops, etc., and the farmer's market. And this would be a great balance between the kitchen and the food truck. As Kings Landing opens, if Butter My Biscuit gets a lot of customers and if it at all becomes overwhelming, this would kind of balance out the customer base, as well as bring attention to Bankstons and Kings Landing, because you could advertise at the food truck itself. From the research we've conducted, it's about $85,000 in cost for the average food truck, but depending on the amenities and what you need in the kitchen, that sort of thing, it could be a bit cheaper. And the average revenue generated per year per food truck is around $290,556. So this is a potentially very profitable venture. And then Comic Hunters is the name that we came up with for our little reality series. So this would be a YouTube-based reality show. We could film the Bankstons team as they buy and sell their unique products, including trips to the warehouse, etc. And so we'd informally be following the Pawn Stars model, if you've seen that show. And I think what makes Pawn Stars a really successful show is the big personalities that are on the show and kind of the entertainment value of the show. So we think that you and your team could provide that same kind of value to comic hunters. And this show would really emphasize the unique items that you sell. And this would also be very low cost, as typically you only need a point-and-shoot camera or an iPhone or something of that nature to film these types of shows. You could advertise them on your social media and to your customers that already come in the store.
All right, so phase 2 of our project is the theater concept. This is just a kind of a small home-sized theater that would fit 10 to 15 seats, and we would do this. It could help create more of a community atmosphere between friends and other people that shop at Bankstons. We figured that people could come out and rent the theater, where if they wanted to host a birthday party or if they just wanted to hang out with a larger group of friends, they could rent it out for their use if they wanted to watch their own TV or movie show. But you also have scheduled programming where you could pick certain days where maybe you want to watch the new release of Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or a specific movie that just recently came out, or you could specifically schedule that on a Friday or Saturday night and sell tickets for $5 to people that walk in the door or reserve them online. And we would estimate the cost to be around $3,000 to $6,000 for this, which is a small price, and you don't really need too much. You just need a projector, screen, maybe some speakers, where the main cost is coming from your couches or chairs. And this would be just a small expansion to King's Landing already.
And then so for phase 3, we have the maturation process where we allow these 3 new ventures to kind of grow and develop. We estimate this to take about 1 to 3 years as the theater gets underway with the completion of King's Landing. We mobilize Butter My Biscuit, and we get the reality show up and running on YouTube. So this is really just a proof of concept so that we can generate revenue and prove that these will bring more people into King's Landing and Bankstons, but also more revenue per customer. And then we want to take a baby step and move that to Austin, which we already have a strong foothold in. We do recommend the move of Guzu Gallery because we don't think that that's tied in very strongly to the Bankstons brand. So we think we could maybe move that merchandise to Austin Books and King's Landing and Bankstons. And then really, I know you mentioned a space becoming available near Austin Books. We could replicate the King's Landing, that 3rd place where you can build a community right next to Austin Books. And then so for phase 4, after we kind of take this baby step into Austin, we want to dominate Texas. We want Bankston's name to be the household brand name for comics and that 3rd place in the Texas marketplace. So Houston, San Antonio, DFW, even smaller cities like El Paso. And we really just want this to grow and flourish, and we really believe that this strategy, driven by the food trucks roaming around the cities and this reality show that can generate a lot of views online, can really bring a lot of revenue and growth to the Bankston's name. And our little tagline for this is to infinity and beyond.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Yeah, log out whoever you need to, if it works. Hopefully it will. You are GLaDOS. Did you ever figure out who GLaDOS was? Video game, right? Portal, yeah.
Hi, okay, I'm Sarah, this is David and Emily, we're Team GLaDOS. So our plan is more stores. We want to grow Bankstons and we want to grow it quickly, but first we want to focus on the marketing and the branding of the current stores and the current locations that there are. We want to do this by increasing awareness, improving the design identity, and then acquisitions.
So for increasing awareness, we're going to do this by first hiring a marketing and branding professional. They're going to help to streamline the brand and improve the marketing of Bankstons. And we also are going to try to increase the online presence because that's such a growing market right now. To improve their design identity, our ideas are to organize the shelving and implement an inventory management system that will go with the warehouse, and that will help to streamline activities in the business as well. For the website, we would like to consider a redesign for the website to make it more accessible for customers, and also have the addition of an online store so that people who aren't in Waco, or even people who are here, can look online before going into Bankstons, or if they get home and want to look at something, they'll have that option. We would also like to streamline the customer experience, and we're going to do this by redesigning the layout of the store, and also through that helping customers to be more comfortable throughout the store, and also create a third place presence for Bankstons and Kings Landing.
Alright, so to create this third place presence that we have, we want to add to the backyard where you have the existing Kings Landing and Bankstons. We want to add like a walkway to a long bar, and then have a large green space like to add for patio, yard games, whatever, out in that backyard experience. So, and then we want to purchase more stores. And we want to do this because we noticed that Hastings went out of business. And that's a very big opportunity for you as a comic book games seller. That's huge. So Hastings left all of these cities plus about 25 more. And so San Angelo, Abilene, College Station, Brownwood's in there. That's a huge opportunity. So for you to look into smaller Central Texas, even across into West Texas, and take that opportunity of Hastings leaving could be a huge opportunity for you. So here's just a small timeline of what we're going to do. We want to hire the branding manager, and that person could be a one cost, like you're going to pay them yearly, but to change the website, that person could be in charge of everything that you want to do, like advertising, billboards, whatever. That's that guy. Then start work on the patio within the next 6 months, open the patio within the next year, and then start that acquisition, because the longer you wait to get those Hastings buildings that they have, or just those cities, the less opportunity it is. So to capture that market while people are still upset about not having a comic book shop is really important.
Awesome. Just very quickly, explain what you mean by greenfield. That might be a new term to him.
It's just to pop up a whole new, start fresh.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
Alright, we're good. Do it. Okay.
Okay, so we'll just dive in right here. So we recognize that you're really busy with Kings Landing right now. So for a while, that's where you're going to be at. But what Professor Norris asked us to do is to come up with an idea that could work for expansion for the on a short scale as well as a long-term scale. So we wanted to look at kind of what the Bankstons business makes it successful. So you've got a lot of different moving parts right now, a lot of different products and services, some new, some old. So we looked at you as a collectibles retailer. So we know for sure that that works. That's allowed you to open up 2 different stores, and then you've got your third store, Kings Landing, which you're kind of trying out some new different services, and we want you to keep doing that. Those are great opportunities. But for the purpose of expansion, we want to focus on just the retailer portion because we know for sure that that works. So once again, to reiterate, proven success there. Kings Landing still in development. So what's the secret to your success? So we looked at a lot of your business, and we decided it comes down to 2 main elements. One is your customer service. you've got better customer service than your competitors. That's something that's very important to you. And finally, inventory acquisition, which we'll get into a little bit more. But basically, we thought the way that you acquire your inventory, you know what to acquire, you know when to acquire it, and for that reason, you have exactly what customers want. So with that, our plan's called operationalize and franchise, 2 steps.
So for operationalize, we think that you need to get down on paper exactly how to get inventory and also all the steps for customer service and so that you can replicate that. So basically embrace what's already having to happen as you expand, which is communicate what you want these other stores to look like and how you want them to acquire goods. And then the next step is what a lot of, IT integration, which is what many groups have said before, which is all about like the website, point of sale, CRM, and next slide. And this is just an example. There's too many good pieces of software and web design applications out there for you not to have just a great experience for your customers online. And here's just some examples of how easy it is to create a website. And I'm going to hand it over to Juan.
Right, so as Bevan mentioned, one of the key aspects to this plan is really to operationalize, right? So to establish this training guide, this policy handbook that you can hand off to any other individual, right, the franchisee, so to say. So the second part is to franchise. And then we think this is one of the best opportunities for your business, specifically because it reduces your risk, right? There's no need for upfront capital. So you're able to really just focus in on what you're really good at right now and then look at the bigger plan. The International Franchising Committee states that over the next 4 years, franchising is expected to grow approximately 18.5%. So it just, I guess it gives benefit to our business proposal because we know that it's efficient, it's effective, and that's why it's going to continue to go in the long run. And then just the key benefits of franchising, we get to control the risk that's associated with expansion, right? So our plan just proposes that we open up with 1 store, almost as a trial run, right? Whether it be in Dallas, Houston, maybe New Orleans, right? A location that you have close proximity to, so you can see how effective your actual plan, your handbook, your training guide is, and then we are able to identify new risks that we weren't able to identify from the beginning. And that's our plan, to operationalize and franchise.
Hey, we're smoking on time. Might actually make it. You guys are doing good.
Hi everyone, welcome to be here today. I'm Ron.
I'm Harley. I'm Sneha.
Okay, so we are proposed to Bankstons to open a new location at downtown Waco. According to TripAdvisor, the Silos District is the most visited area in downtown in Waco. It draws about 30,000 out-of-town visitors to downtown Waco every week, which makes it a very perfect location to attract more mainstream customers and readerships. Moreover, there is a growing number of young entrepreneurs in Waco. The article also talks about that the downtown cultural district includes a concentration of entertainment venues, such as retail restaurants, the farmers market, museums, historical landmarks, and all of these help increase the growth in visitor spending, and also attracts more investment. That's why we think we should pick the downtown as the new location. Apart from that, having the reason stated, now let me talk more about the proposal. Instead of having a full-scale store, we are recommending a small and mobile store that is easy to build and tear down, which gives Bankston lots of flexibility. Okay, and the downtown store will also help increase foot traffic for Bankstons, which will increase revenue in the future. If you can show all of these slides. Okay. Now I'm going to hand it to Sneha.
Okay, so a little bit of background. Recent film adaptations of various comics have increased the popularity of the industry.
For example, the Marvel brand has increased readership and increased revenue for comics since the release of the movie, so much that there's a shift in readership from old readers to new readers. There's a new mainstream diverse audience out there that craves this material, and a lot of places haven't been able to capture this audience. And with the cultural district, there is a concentration of entertainment venues, as Ron said, restaurants, museums, the farmers market, and of course the silos. Almost 30,000 people step through that, not just drive through, but actually step through that area. So we believe that like having a temporary location that feeds off that market that's already there will actually capture this mainstream audience, because it includes the masses, it includes out-of-town visitors, it includes people from all over the country that will know about the Bankstons brand. So having this temporary location, and because it is a smaller store that kind of fits the cultural perspective of the silos market, we think that having product that has gained popularity through movies, social media, and TV will better cater the audience for the market that actually steps through the silos. And this will increase foot traffic and increase revenue, because over the past year, employment rates in the silos market has increased by 2%. And we believe this increases demand and revenue for the stores that are actually already there. So by having a temporary location, it increased foot traffic into there, but also increased foot traffic into the other Bankstons locations in Waco. And because a lot of out-of-town visitors visit, it increases foot traffic into the Austin location. It increases foot traffic into Kings Landing. And the unique product, and Bankstons has a very unique business perspective and product. Therefore, it will be the only hobby shop in that area. And we think that this will give Bankstons an edge for a couple of years.
Okay, so as Sneha and Ron mentioned, there's a lot of growth in that market, which means that it gives you a great opportunity to kind of get everyone to know your brand. Part of the implementation of this is the new store. You just opened one. You're very familiar with all of the steps required. A new kind of improved element of that is your marketing, social media. So you have events on Facebook. You can share those with everyone, not just your current community, but you can kind of grow your community through that platform. So yeah, it just provides you a great way to grow your image and grow your awareness of your brand. Thank you.
What do you do when the silos inevitably start to decline?
Okay, that's why we do a mobile store, so it's easier to be able to enter it now, so he can choose TV or stuff.
So like if you figure out the ability to be able to focus more on a local market rather than the tourist market, then we would suggest to keep it rather than
Okay, cool, thanks. You guys are VJ, right?
Yes.
Did you ever look it up?
No, I did not.
It was pretty spooky. First time I watched that movie, where this V'ger appears, it was kind of freaking me out. And then when the punchline comes, you're like,
No.
Fire away.
Okay, so hi all, so we're the last group.
I see it's 48. If you have to
Yes.
go, don't just be as discreet as you can. I totally understand, and we'll do winners at the final exam. So if I don't see you. Also, another quick reminder, upload your slides or a link to your slides if you have a Prezi by noon today, I think it is. So don't forget that.
Hi, okay, so I'm Mary Claire.
I'm Preston. And I'm Cole Anderson.
So what we're here to talk about is, after listening to you talk, we really were inspired by your passion for creating a community in Waco. And honestly, before this semester, the three of us, none of us had even known about Bankstons at all. And after listening to you talk, I actually did go and I went twice to get presents for friends and family. But the fact of the matter is that I might be a customer, but these two guys really aren't. That's just not their thing. So we went about this project with trying to create different situations that we would all three be interested in actually going to shop at Bankstons, more specifically King's Landing, since you're just opening this up. So talking about King's Landing, we tried to figure out who are the customers currently at King's Landing. And so right now it's really more about the vintage video gamers, like new video gamers, campaign gamers, gamers like Dungeons and Dragons and doing things like that, comic book readers, and the average nerd who gets online and Googles nerdy places in Waco. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to create different situations where more people could be your customers. So who could be your customers? So obviously the previous list, but say fans of the Marvel and DC movies, not necessarily comics, but the movies. And then book nerds like Lord of the Rings, I'm a huge fan. Trekkies, browncoats, and other things. And then people who are open-minded in search of a good time, and also people who are just generally hungry. So we had to figure out how to attract a different kind of customers rather than the customers that you have right now. So we decided to include a branch of different, we wanted to branch out to include different types of nerds than the ones that are kind of your customers already, and then create fun events that nerds can bring their non-nerdy friends to. And also the idea is that money isn't really the key factor at Bankstons. It is important, yes, but really the most important thing is creating a community that all different types of people can come together and celebrate different passions that they share. So the first idea that we had is a trivia night at King's Landing. And so there are actually studies that were shown that if you have a trivia night at a bar or a restaurant, it actually increases the revenue at minimum by 10% just for that night alone. So this could be something that could be more for the nerdy type people, so like say Marvel movies or comic book heroes, but then it could be branched out and include something that these two guys would be interested in, like sports or TV shows from past decades or even literary book nerds. This is something that is really, really easy to implement, and it really doesn't take that much money, but it would be a great way to draw in new customers to King's Landing. So another idea is, this is my kind of thing, is book clubs. I'm a huge book fan, and honestly, whenever I came to Waco freshman year, I Googled, hey, are there any book clubs here in Waco? Surprise, there aren't. So if King's Landing said, hey, we're gonna start doing a book club, come once a week, come and you eat, and different things like that, that can really include a bunch of different types. So like I said, like mystery novels, science fiction, literally any type of book you can create a club for, and especially during the summer, it'd be great if you had like a kids book club. I can see a lot of parents that'd be like, I want my kids to read, we're going to King's Landing and you're gonna like it. So, and then the last event is something that is a little bit more broader scoped, and something called Zombie Night, or like other events have, it's called Z events, so that's Zombie Emergency Defense. So what the idea is that The Walking Dead is a huge, huge, big deal right now. It's currently in the 7th season. There are millions of fans. So what you're trying to do is appeal to these particular types of fans. So, for example, Bankstons could team up with a local gun range, and they could create their own like zombie targets, and then you could have like firearm training against the undead. Another idea would be like a zombie run. So they would have volunteers who would play zombies, and runners would have to get to point A to point B without getting trapped and eaten by the zombies by, say, like a flag football thing. So if you get your flag taken, you're now a zombie, go team. Another idea would be like household objects into melee weaponry. So like, how can I take this regular hairdryer and turn it into a zombie killing machine? And then also it would be really fun to have an annual zombie dance where you'd pay, say, like $10, show up dressed like a zombie, dance the night away with things like Thriller and all that kind of stuff. And this could also be used for different, completely different fandoms. So you could have like a Star Wars themed event with like stormtroopers versus the good guys, or you could have like a Marvel superheroes, like Team Tony Stark against Team Captain America? Yeah. And so it'll be, that's just, yeah.
Then next is about creating a website for King's Landing. That's to create an up-to-date site with prices and available games. Continuously update the site with upcoming events, really hold tournaments, giveaways, price cuts, etc. Post news regarding new game releases, that's obvious. And then optional is twitch.tv to stream live video feed of your store or of anyone playing Twitch.tv is basically like the YouTube for gamers, and it can just be someone looking at the store in real time. And this is actually going to be your competitor, their main site of what it looks like on the homepage. And they have a list of games. What was cool is that they actually list all their games and then games according to each console, which would be awesome for King's Landing. If someone wanted to make a whole day out of it, they would want to know what's there, what they can play, etc. And then they also, how it works, hourly, blah, blah, blah. And then the newest games, and then this was actually bad because these are like not new at all. 08, 2012, 2014. So they're not up to date at all. So if you do this, make sure it's up to date. And there's actually a company in Waco, I think, called SO Technets that can help you build your website with you for $50 an hour. Or you can pay up $2,600 to have the whole thing done for you, which is pretty affordable for website building.
Okay, the last big idea that we kind of hope more on a long-term basis, we wanted to really play with this idea of leveraging the food with the games. So we were thinking, what's the, like, if we want new customers, what's the most obvious way to attract almost anyone, and that's people get hungry. So we understand that the scale is relatively small right now with the kitchen and the butter my biscuits and things like that. But if we could leverage that food, and then there's, if you could go ahead and keep it, there's plenty of, these are just some cool ideas of restaurants who have been established, but not necessarily just restaurants, but they're also gaming areas similar to King's Landing. And so these, I mean, just the names of the menu, the items on the menu are really catchy. I mean, that really establishes a name for itself, and there's nothing like that currently in Waco. And this is the same thing for the cocktail list, and it's really cool, really
totally
catchy.
want to order.
And it brings people in who are like, oh, I'm interested and I'm hungry. So our idea is if you're hungry, you can go there and eat. But then once you get in there, we want something to find something for them to find interesting to bring them back. And whether that be the food, whether that be some of the items that are in the gaming that's in the store that they didn't necessarily know about. There's endless ways that once you get them in the door that you can bring them back into the door. But right now the passion is there from you and your entire staff. Everything is the intangibles are there to be successful. It's just reaching that new market that there's not reaching right now, and all three of us will get hungry at some point in the day. This whole class will get hungry at some point in the day. Why not take advantage of that and get that to be at least the first step to get people into the door, and then from there they can be interested in anything they like. So those are kind of our main three steps that we can take.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Hey, guys, well done.
Thank you very much. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll debrief at the final in a few minutes there. Oh, okay. Appreciate it. No, it's all right.
It's just the quiz is taking 4 minutes.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Didn't get a chance to give you this.
Oh, okay. All right. You guys were first, right? Yeah. Okay. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
You did. You had a clarity in your speaking that was nice. You know, some people get nervous and they stumble all over themselves. You guys, I was impressed. Good job. Oh.